Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the broadcast. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. It is Thursday, August 8th, 2019. Back here with you. I'm going to do some, I don't know. I'll do as much as I can for you here tonight. I've just been so busy with all this other stuff. And last night, I did have some news stories and I had some other stuff I was going to get into, but this current research has got to take in the went to the top of the to-do list. So anyway, I'm here with you. Thanks so much for being here with me again for another edition. I'm going to talk more about what I talked about last night, and then we'll go from there. Geez, I got to tell you. Yeah, this is just like I said yesterday. You guys have no idea. I mean, we started finding new information. I wasn't even done with that show for 6 minutes and we already found new stuff yesterday. I had to shut it down, man. My brain was on fucking fire last night. Shout out to John Brisson, man. The guy, man. It's like I told you. It's like a bloodhound. I throw him just a couple of things. Hey, look at this. Boom. He goes and fucking finds a bunch of crazy shit. He throws something at me. Hey, look at this. And he'll throw something at me and immediately it'll resonate with fucking 20 things I already know are true, that I've already found in my research or whatever. It's too much, man. It's too much. I'm going to have to just make a small, quick kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, maybe like a teaser video or I don't know, just like a quick little, not a long, full movie or anything, but just a quick little thing to kind of hit the highlights of what we're on to with this stuff. Because again, it's guess what? Remember how big and deep I told you it was yesterday in yesterday's show? Remember that? Yeah, that got blown out of the water an hour after that show was over. It got, and then today, and then tonight, and then right up till I started doing the show pretty much, finding more stuff. My head is swimming, man. I'm afraid to say certain things quite yet, not pertaining to the information, but just about how really truly important this is. This is something that's going to require 100% total attention that I don't have to give it right now because I've got other stuff pending that I'm already behind on. So I'm going to do a quick video, something that's not going to take me very long to do. Hit the highlights, give you guys some info on this, let you know exactly to a certain degree what we're dealing with here, which is way fucking deeper. We're talking head of the Hydra here, folks. We're talking top of the pyramid. We're talking about uncharted territory too. And all the stuff that I've put out before, both in the Spellcasters Volume 1 and before that with the Secret Volume 1 and 2, all that stuff plays into this, just like I talked about yesterday, and then some. This is the top. We've hit the top of the mountain. That's no joke. It's not exaggeration. Again, I'm hesitant to even attempt to exemplify at this point or to put emphasis on how important it is of discovery. And listen, this is not something I expected to happen at all. It's just one of those things. It was weird though, because like I told you yesterday, I talked about John Brisson yesterday. I said, like he was the first person I thought of when I don't know why when I started uncovering this. I was like, it just felt like something And I'm glad. I really am glad I threw to him, and he's helped out tremendously and found a bunch. I mean, this is now become both of our projects together, really. But like I said, this is going to require 100% all my attention. That's became very apparent today upon the. I mean, you got to understand, folks. We ain't been researching this shit not even a week, and we got mountains. We got mountains of data already. I'm talking about mountains. I'm talking about data that's going to take me weeks to sift through, and to not only sift through, but to have a grasp on and comprehend and be able to connect it all. This is all fresh, new stuff to me. I know a lot of some of this stuff, but this is all new. We discovered a new thing too, where, and this will probably, I mean, you gotta understand, this is like revolutionary what we're uncovering here. It's crazy. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. But it's amazing that if you search these guys' names in Russian, like in Russian spelling, like if you take like Vladislav Doronin and take his name and take the Russian spelling of it in Russian, and then search these guys' names, not their English pronunciation names, but their actual you're going to track down what their actual Russian name is. And then you do searches on that. Man, this has really got me thinking that we all need to start doing research in multiple languages. Because I'm telling you, the amount of data you can find, stuff that just doesn't show up in standard searches you do in English on, standard search engines. You start putting these names in Russian and you start getting hits, and you take the data and then you fucking translate it back and then you know what you're dealing with. But it's insane how much information is out there that the majority of the English speaking world is just ignorant to. And that's what's helping keep this, as we talked about yesterday, this bullshit perception that we all have of our current reality, both in politics and world powers and all that stuff. It's crazy. I mean, really, this is, as John said, this is really the missing link. This is a missing piece. This is a missing link for not just my research or anybody else's research, for all research, everyone's. This is the missing piece. This is the missing link. 100% I can say that with certainty. I mean, we're talking about, we've got the bloodline connections in here. We've got this stuff connected back. I mean, I haven't got to some of the stuff John found today, transhumanism stuff, ascension cult stuff. I mean, we're just beyond the fucking rainbow bridge here with this stuff, folks. It's insane. Insane. Found more stuff connecting to, it's all started with that Naomi Campbell thing, and lo and behold, dude, she's not just some side character in this whole thing. Naomi Campbell is actually a major fucking player. Okay? Heavily involved in sex trafficking rings going back decades. We're talking about back to the early 1990s. Okay? These model agencies, I'm not saying all of them, but particularly the ones that are associated with Russians. So if we know some of these are for a fact, how many other ones? I think at this point we have to assume all modeling agencies. How many stories have you heard about that shit? Fake modeling agencies and stuff and sex trafficking. I think it's safe to assume at this point that the entire fashion world is a huge part, and basically the whole thing's a front for. I mean, I'll just say it, the whole fashion industry is a front for human sex trafficking, and in particular these model agencies, which act as front organizations for the sex trafficking. And the one that Naomi Campbell happens to be with You look up the guy that owns that, you start tracing it back, and you look at that group and connect all these other ones together, and it's just, your head starts swimming. You're like, oh, and then you go look at these women. Jesus Christ, man. They look like mind control victims. Naomi Campbell's bottom bitch. That's what she is. She's a bottom bitch. You know what a bottom bitch is? When a pimp has his stable of hoes, but he's got one that's been with him the longest. So she's kind of like a capo in the mafia. She's like a fucking, kind of a second in command type person. And again, she's got the perfect front, being one of the world's most famous, successful models. That's why she was on the Lolita Express. That's why her and Vladislav Doronin have still maintained a business relationship after they broke up. Did he take all those houses away from her? Hell no. These guys are involved in high-level money laundering, and oftentimes the money laundering, how they get around the money laundering from criminal activity is become these real estate guys. No, all that shit about him giving her that giant fucking Aya Horus house and the spaceship one as birthday presents, that's horseshit. That's horseshit. That's payment for her services. She's a bottom bitch. She has probably been setting up these models with these billionaires and guys, Einstein, not Weinstein, but Epstein and beyond. That's why she's flying around on the Lolita Express airplane with Epstein. I found this other video tonight, fucking crazy. I was talking about Russia Today. As I talked about last night, we've got, we apparently have these two factions of organized crime that are warring against each other. And we found that is indeed the case, 100%. But Russia Today, which we've talked about before, they've had Luke Radowski and Alex Jones and all kinds of truthers on there. They're owned by the Russian FSB, which is the former KGB. And this specifically happens to be the side of things that these right-wing old gangsters I talked about yesterday on the right-wing side that controlled Trump and all these other people, that just happens to be the side that controls Russia Today. There's a video, you can find it on YouTube. That's from 11 years ago, Russia Today put out. And it's model relationship. How will Russian oligarch handle Naomi? Can he handle Naomi? Like, how is he going to handle her? Now, wait a minute. Russia Today, I thought they posted shit like, alt-right stuff, conspiracy stuff. This is from 2008, right when Naomi Campbell and Vladislav. Why would they run that as a news story? Well, when you now look at what we talked about yesterday, if you now know what we're finding out here, you can see that they were trying to make a thing of this because he's on that opposition side. And we talked about that gun shootout, found more information on the gun shootout. Because the whole question was whether or not this was the instigation of a much larger conflict between Vladislav Doronin, the Vladislav Doronin more left-wing end, and the old school end with Gavril Yushev, as we talked about yesterday. Now listen to this. This is more follow-up on that shootout story. This is where it all comes home. This is how we know it is what I said it was yesterday. Listen to this. The Russian Research Committee conducted searches in the cottages near Moscow and the capital's apartment of businessman Gavril Yushev. Officially, the events were associated with a shootout in Moscow City. However, according to the source, the M office of the FSB, who owns Russia Today, by the way, of the Russian Federation, so that's basically like the Russian KGB, the Russian CIA, participated in the events. Let me read that for you again. Okay? I want you to be able to clearly understand what I'm saying here. The Russian Research Committee conducted searches in the cottages near Moscow and the capital's apartment of businessman Gavril Yushev. He's the guy that's at the head of this opposing right-wing end of Russian organized crime. Officially, the events were associated with a shootout in Moscow City. That's the shootout at the tower. However, according to the source, the M office of the FSB of the Russian Federation participated in the events. They have a much wider range of questions for Yushevov. In particular, counterintelligence became interested in his attempts to actually take control of Rubelka. For this, the businessman even placed his people in responsible posts. So his relative, Andrei Ivanov, another big name in all of this, became the head of the Odin-Stavo district. And another protege, Semyon Yubakov, took the post of deputy prosecutor of the Moscow region. Now, let's back up. So they're telling us that when this shootout happened, the Russian FSB, which we already know and have already established, works in tandem with Putin, which then works in tandem with Yushevov and this right-wing Russian mafia, all right? So right there, we know that whoever they were opposing, presumably Vladislav Doronin and his end, since we know it was his security people that this confrontation took place with, that right there shows you that this right-wing end has the backing of the official military, or, the FSB is like that's what the KGB used to be, which is like the equivalent of the CIA. So their equivalent CIA is in bed and has been for many years with this right-wing Russian mafia. So what they wanted to know, it says they have a much wider range of questions for Yushevov, in particular counterintelligence. Now, why would counterintelligence become interested in his attempts to actually take control of Rubelka? And I was going, well, Rubelka, where? I know that name. Where do I know that from? I don't know fucking dick about Russia Dave, but how come I know that? I went, oh, yeah, now I remember, that Rubelka. Go look that up. Go look up that, remember the spaceship house, the buried spaceship house he built for Naomi? Guess where that was built at? Rubelka. This is turf war. This is two opposing sides with Yushevov trying to take over this area that Vladislav Doronin has claimed as his own and as the area of his particular end of this. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But that right there is huge. That's a huge breakthrough. That's just the tip of the iceberg. It really is. This, and yeah, this, these Russian modeling groups too, that it's crazy, man, because both of these guys, ain't either one of these guys a good, you know what I mean? Neither one of these guys are good guys. This is bad guy on bad guy. But guess what? These people are the ones that are truly running the world, ladies and gentlemen. That's a fact. You don't have to believe me now, but you can look into this for yourself. Start digging. But we've got mounds of data, mounds of it. Boy, man. Again, I don't want to say anything too soon, but goddamn, man. And those of you who know me and who've listened to this show for years, you can go back to any show you want in the almost 12 years I've been on there, 12 years next month. You never once, I don't over sensationalize things. I don't do that. I leave that to the Alex Joneses of the world. I don't over sensationalize things. I don't perpetuate fear. I don't use the information to perpetuate fear. I don't use the information, and over sensationalize it to try and justify my own existence. But I got to tell you, man, digging into this stuff, man, it don't look good. It doesn't look good. Man, it doesn't look good. Because it's like, it is like the head of the Hydra. You cut off one head and three more go in its place or whatever. This is like a head of the Hydra. It just doesn't matter how many heads you cut off of this. A million more heads are going to pop up right back in its place. And it doesn't matter if Trump's in office or Obama's in office or Hillary's in office or Gabby Tulsa's in office or whatever the fuck her name is in office. Doesn't matter. These guys own and control the system worldwide to the point where, just like I talked about yesterday, it's a fact. And if it ever gets to the point where they don't have their people in those positions anymore, that's when the nukes come out. It's unbelievable. Yeah, this women management group, it's this modeling agency. Oh God, Paul Rowland and all this shit. I mean, you look at these women, and supposed models, and clearly they're, mind control slaves. And then you go and you find out, like women management, you find out that's where Leonardo DiCaprio is pulling his stable of young hot girls from. You know how you always see them? They're all coming out, and guess what? Vladislav Doronin, after he broke up with Naomi, he got him a new, younger, hotter model. Guess where he pulled her from? The same agency. She's now his baby's mama. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, these guys, it's insane. It's crazy. We got sold this bill of goods on the whole Mueller investigation and the whole, just like I told you at the very beginning, they weren't ever going to come out with shit. There wasn't ever going to be any real shit come out about that, because left, right, doesn't matter. These guys have all been in bed with the Russians, and they always have been. And yeah, that's the case, but it's even deeper than that, ladies and gentlemen. We've been thinking the Queen of England. Listen, Queen of England don't run shit. All this other bloodline shit you've been told again. All the more lies. You understand? This connects with this explains why all the truthers went lockstep over to Trump overnight, and so many went white supremacist overnight, like they were operating from a manual with marching orders. I mean, this fucking, the Queen of England or the Saxe-Coburg-Gotha bloodlines. Those were Germanic bloodlines that came from Germany and assumed power and don't honestly have anything to do with Britain at all. They're Germanic families. That's assumed power. And assumed power ain't shit. We've been running around with these asshats running around, talking about, it's the Jews and the Jew world order and the Rothschilds. Man, you've been chasing your fucking tails. Oh, there's Jews involved. Oh, yeah. Oh, but it ain't the ones you were thinking of. It ain't the ones eating matzo ball soup with the fucking, looking like the Nazi propaganda cartoon with the big noses and the shifty Jew over gold. No. No, these are white motherfuckers, man. This is the true. I'm not talking about just regular old Ashkenazis. I'm talking about Eastern European Ashkenazis, as I talked about yesterday, who trace their lineages back to the lost tribes of Israel. And they've had us chasing Rothschilds and all. Man. Oh, listen, this is not my opinion. These guys in this organized crime gang that we talked about with Yushvevov himself and his family, they all trace back to what are known as the Mountain Jews. You can look this up. They actually have the World Council for Mountain Jews. You can look it up. Their website's all in Russian. These guys, remember not long ago when I talked about, a couple shows ago, I talked about how the white supremacist guys, they know all about this fucking Anunnaki bloodline shit. Well, this ties into that. These guys that are running these organized crime mafias that are the most powerful, forget all that mafioso, Scorsese, Sicilian shit. That's all of that. All of that is low level compared to this Caucasus Mountain Jew people we're talking about here. The guys at the highest levels of these organizations in Russian organized crime trace their lineages back to what are known as Mountain Jews. And this is what I was talking about previously that the white supremacists know about how, the Anunnaki gave the highest amount of their DNA. That's what it says in the ancient Sumerian text. I'm not talking about Zechariah Sitchin translations. I'm talking about what actual scholarly translations say in there. And it says that they gave the largest amount of their DNA to the white-skinned people that lived in caves in the Caucasus Mountains region. These guys there's 250,000 Mountain Jews alive worldwide, scattered throughout the world. There's 250,000 of them, and yet they are a non-governmental organization with UN status. I found a video on YouTube that's put out by their organization. And at the very beginning, it says they trace back to the lost tribes of Israel, and it shows some fucking Anunnaki Sumerian artwork. These are the original Aryans. These guys they traced back, the mountains originally traced back to what is now Iran, which was Persia back then. And these weren't, the Iranian people that inhabit that area now have nothing to do with the people that were originally there, with the original Persians and the original Aryans. And that's what these Mountain Jews, that's what their lineage comes from. Fuck a Merovingian bloodline, fuck a Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, fuck all that other shit. Now we know why they're ramping up stuff with Iran. I've been saying this for years. I talked about the Behistun inscription. I talked about that 10 years ago. The Behistun inscription, look that up. It's in Iran. It's got the winged disc. It's got the stuff you would see. It's in fucking Iran, but it has the stuff that you would see associate with Sumerian and Babylonian and Egyptian iconography. It's got all the apostles down there. It's got the inscription written by King Darius. It's got him up there. And it talks about how the bloodline descendants of Darius will rule over these 23 lands. And you go and look up those 23 lands, and it's all the areas in the Middle East where all the war and all the oil is. And all the places Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran. All my bloodline descendants will have dominion over these lands forever. And I've been saying for years, and people were laughing at me 10 years ago when I was saying it, these guys are coming back for what they believe to be theirs. And they got the money, the power, and the bloodline proof to do it. This is why this has been ramping up. Well, they're ramping up Iran again after it was so quiet for so many years now with Trump in office. Trump, literally, ladies and gentlemen, is the great white hope. Now you know why all this white supremacist stuff. And listen, probably even at the highest levels, Trump probably doesn't even know. He's probably not even lying when people ask him, why are you support white supremacy? He doesn't even know. And the people, I guarantee you, 90% of the people at the highest levels of these white supremacist groups don't even know. They don't even know. They believe Trump is the great white hope. And that's why the Russians have been in bed with him. They believe that he is one of their bloodline descendants, these Mountain Jews, that's going to help them gain back what is theirs. We've been running around looking at Rothschilds and everything. We've been looking at it all wrong. These are the guys who are all connected to all of this sex trafficking, the Epstein stuff on the left, the stuff on the right with Trump. You can't even fucking wrap your mind around how much data we've got already, and we hadn't been fucking researching this a week. This is a whole new place, folks. We're on to some serious shit here. This is the next level. This is the piece that's been missing, not just from my research, but from everybody's research. This is going to change the whole game on this type of research. It's unbelievable. I wasn't even trying to even look at, I didn't even think that whole bloodline envy, if that would even come into this. But it's clear right there, because when you start researching these guys from that right-wing Russian mafia organization I discussed in yesterday's show, when you start researching the guys that are in that group and have been in that group, that's what you keep coming across mentions of the Mountain Jews. And as soon as I heard that, I went, wait a minute. It's kind of like a secret society. Not the whole organization, because the whole organization has only been around since like 2003. But there's these small faction of these that make up these Russian oligarchs and control these mafia groups at the highest level. And these guys are the ones that are controlling everything worldwide. These guys are running the show. Man. And again, I'm giving you really the bare minimum here. This is not even 0.1% of the total amount of information that we've gathered on this already. So I'm going to work on putting together just a quick kind of a wrap up of all this stuff, kind of like what I talked about here tonight and yesterday's show, kind of make a quick little, something that doesn't involve, it's not a long video, but just something where we can have something out there, where we can get some of this information out now while it's hot. And then I got to get back to work on Spellcasters 2 and 3, because I pretty much came to the decision tonight. Again, I just thought this was just going to be one of those quick little research effort things. It's not. It isn't. It's not going to be that. This is going to require full attention and dedication. And again, shout out to John Brisson. Thanks to him, I wouldn't be. It would have taken me 6 months, a year to find all this information. And I just throw something at him. He throws it back to me, and then I find some other stuff. He finds some other stuff. So, I think the plan is just going to be put out the short video, get back to work on 2 and 3 of the Spellcasters, get those out. And then once that's all out and all that stuff is done, I'll jump back over onto this information and start compiling this information. And we are going to have ourselves I'll tentatively call it that. You never know, I might change my mind. But I'm just saying tentatively right now, after Spellcasters 2 and 3 are out, I think we're going to have to take this newest information and wrap this up into The Secret Rite Volume 3. And then after that, I'm done. I'm done after that. I'm done with films. I might make one more film. If we ever get to the point where we're able to get a rock wall dig off the ground, and I'll make a documentary from that and put that out. But mic dropped, motherfucker. I what I already got coming in Spellcasters 2 and 3. But this new stuff, like I said, I just thought this was going to be a quick little thing. It's not. This has actually turned out to be maybe the biggest, most important find ever. Not just like my work or John's work or whoever's work, but just ever. That's what we're on to here. This is big. This is, God damn, all so much sense. It does feel like I'm having that paradigm shift that I had after I found out about the CMP again, though. It really does. Because so much shit's making more sense now, especially in the whole truth movement stuff. Why the white supremacists? I mean, these guys are the true Aryans, man. These Mountain Dew guys, this is the true. This is where all the funding for all of this new white supremacist stuff that started coming about out of nowhere and just happened to take root in what was the truth movement right before the elections with Donald Trump. This is why. This is beyond just a bunch of white power dudes. No, man, that's the perception. Again, that's the perception they want to have in the media. You know, they probably think it's a bunch of guys that look like me because I'm from the South, and you know. No, man, those are clowns. All that perception of how they portray in the movies and TV and the media of these. You know, they got rebel flags and listen, I grew up in the South. I got a lot. Listen, I've seen a lot of rebel flags in my time, and none of them were from people who hated black people whatsoever. In the South, believe it or not, there are some people that it is not about racism. It is about heritage to them, whether the left-wing media wants to say that or not. But that's not my point. My point is that the portrayal of who and what white supremacists are and what they look like is a far cry, ladies and gentlemen, from what you've been presented with, okay? These aren't fucking, skinhead, punk rock listening, people listening to Screwdriver, nigga, 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 get on the boat, nigga, 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 row, row. This is not that. That's punk shit. That's an offshoot, trickle down of the real thing. These guys who are really white supremacists, these guys who are really tracing their bloodlines back and truly believe they are the master race. These Mountain Dew types that control the Russian oligarchs and control world power, they believe in the divine right to rule. They believe they are the master race. And it's beyond just this bullshit portrayal we get, where you got people, was it fucking Meathead? Commie he is. I'm sure he's fucking taking plenty of fucking money, Russian money in his time. Fucking Rob Reiner. Everyone that supports Trump is racist. And these guys have just fucking no idea what they're even talking about. And Trump probably doesn't. I mean, he probably knows it to a certain extent. No, you don't understand. These motherfuckers really do think. And this is beyond just neo-Nazi bullshit and these white supremacist types, white nationalists. It's beyond that. The majority of those motherfuckers, that's where you'll actually find some real hate mongers is in some of these, because all these groups, the majority of them are all fucking. They're either ran by Jews or they're CIA front organizations anyway. It's all bullshit. You want to find the real Aryan believing fucking people. That's these guys that are in these bloodlines that are in these highest levels whose names you're not going to find readily on the internet doing research unless you know how to speak Russian, or you go and take the time to find their names in Russian and start doing back searching and stuff. Listen, that's why they funneled money to all these people like Alex Jones. Why Jones came up for FBI investigation to the Mueller probe. It was connection to Russia and Jerome Corsi, the rest of these guys. This ties into the CMP stuff and all the other stuff I've put out up till now. It absolutely does. But this is the missing link. This is the missing piece, man. I always thought Luke Rudkowski, man, from the first time, I remember when I was in the 9/11 Truth Movement stuff, the first time I fucking saw that guy, I was like, man, I didn't fucking know better. I think that dude was a Russian plane. He looks like Vladimir Putin's son. That all makes sense now. Why I've heard rumors for years that Russia had something to do with 9/11. That's all making sense now. Why the fake phony? You got to understand, these guys are all in bed with. They're in bed with Al Qaeda and all the rest of those groups. They're in bed with all the Middle Eastern organizations. These Mountain Jews are Mountain Jews and organized crime. They're all in bed with all of those supposed terrorist organizations, every one of them. Man, this is some dangerous shit. I'm going to tell you right now. It feels like, I don't know. It feels like everything else I've found up till now, while being relevant and being important, hasn't quite had the missing piece yet. And this is it. And like I said, what I've told you so far is not even giving you 0.01% of the full picture of this. It's not. It's going to take me weeks to go through. I'm not kidding you. It's going to take me weeks to go all the shit through that Brisson already sent me. Unbelievable. I mean, if you're still hanging on to any sort of fantasy or hope that we live in any kind of, you can say democracy or anything, we don't. I'm sorry to have to tell you. I know many of you out there like me have said that you know this for quite some time, but I don't even think that, even though I say I've known this for a long time, which is why I've never voted, never will. I mean, there is no shred of anything left anymore. Maybe there never has been. It's probably all been a fraud from the very beginning, but just the stuff that's come about in recent times, it's unbelievable. And like I said, I just don't see any way. I don't see any way of defeating this. The only course I see is the same course I've been on, and I will continue to be on from the very beginning, which is just to put the truth out and put the information out, and continue to try and inform people. And this is maybe the biggest thing ever. Because this is really, I mean, these guys are into all this stuff. I mean, one of these side groups that these guys are invested in, these Russian billionaire oligarchs that are invested in, one of the companies they're invested in is an American biomedical company that produces artificial veins and replacement hearts and stuff that are like high level, next level, big money shit. They're pumping money into biotechnology groups, transhumanism. They're pumping money into replacement organs and replacement, cardiovascular systems for themselves. Next level shit you and I are never going to get. They're creating it specifically for elites, and these Russian oligarchs are heavily invested in this technology. We found all the documentation of it. Man, I don't know what to say. R.I.P. America. R.I.P. Great Britain. We think we're the most powerful nation in the world. Britain thinks it's it's world ruler because it's got the queen and the rest. Man, no, we've all been fucking buying a lie. This is the real top of the pyramid. This is the real Illuminati shit. We've been fed all this bullshit from all these so-called truthers and people all these years. This is what I've kind of been on to, but not fully been on to until now. I mean, this really makes all this stuff makes more sense now. That's why all these guys are funded by these Russian interests. These guys are in gold, and we know why. Alex Jones and Midas Resources and all that stuff, these are pushing all that gold. That's because these guys that are involving these Russian mafia guys that pertain and that are trace their lineage back to these mountain Jews. They run the world's top gold resources and all the man. I was wondering why he was selling us gold. Like, who the fuck could you be in bed in that's got that much gold they need to get rid of on an Alex Jones show? Well, now we know. The Russians, of course. Fucking A, man. Oh, it's unbelievable. And that's why they created all that Jew stuff to get everything just blindly and blatantly blamed on Jews. And using it for hate and disinformation and everything else. And meanwhile, everybody's looking over at Rothschilds and Rockefellers. And meanwhile, these guys over here with actual bloodlines back to the beginning, they've been quietly running things and keeping everybody entertained with disinfo and, endless 9/11 truth stuff that's like being on a rat wheel that never ends. It's just insane. And it's not going to be easy. I'll tell you right now, not that it ever had, not any of this ever has been, but it ain't going to be easy. But yeah, I mean, John Briss and I are both in agreement. This is, he agrees with me 100%. This is the missing piece. It doesn't matter what, what particular end of this type of research you've been into. This connects it all. All of it. It's going to take me some time to fully wrap my mind around all of this, but, I will. I always do. But eventually, once I sit with it long enough and research it long enough, and I'll have just as much of a command over this information as I do on any of the other stuff I have command over. It just takes time. It's just when it's so new. I didn't have command of the CMP stuff when I first started talking about it. I know way more about it now, but, it had to be done. The information had to get out there somehow. I mean, I realized the first Eager Right film wasn't perfect, and, it was on my second film ever, and I had no idea what I was doing, but, it was, I knew at the time it was a means to an end, and all those things are necessary that have gotten us to where we are now. And it always happens by accident, man. So, yeah. Spellcasters 2, Spellcasters 3. And then this film with this information. That's it for me. Unless I end up being able to do a Rockwall film. I'll still do YouTube videos, still do the radio show and stuff, and probably, make shorter videos. But there's nowhere else. As far as I want to make other films, I want to make other documentaries. I want to make music documentaries and some other stuff down the road. But as far as like these type of conspiracy documentary stuff that I've been doing, really after these 3 films, there's nowhere else to go. This is it. This is the event horizon for this research. It really will tie everything I've put out previously to this. I'm in a state of shock. We are again down another rabbit hole of stuff that has so much data and so much information to it. It's not going to be something you're going to be able to instantly absorb into your knowledge base. It's not. So that's why I'm just going to try to make a little short video to kind of highlight this stuff, and then get back to work on the other projects so I can get those done and dedicate myself to this, because it deserves it, and I'm not going to be able to do it justice if I just try to do a quick little YouTube video. So, all right. Was there anything else I wanted to mention here tonight? There's just so much. My fucking brain is on fire. I'm not lying. Man. Crazy stuff. I appreciate all your continued support and listenership out there, folks. Continue, please, to support my work any way you can. Get yourself some downloads from the download shop. All my documentary films and all my audiobooks and video presentations are in there. Mystery Hollywood, the 9-hour presentation. Unbelievable info in that. You can get a 5-pack collection, save $10, get all 5 parts for $40. That's in the download shop. You can get the complete download collection of all my work, all my films, everything on sale in the download shop. It's $175. You save about $100 from buying them individually if you buy that collection. And all my other films and stuff are in there individually and in combo packs. Lost Secrets of Ancient America, Volume 1 and 2. The Secret Rite, Volume 1 and 2 are in there. Spellcasters 1 and 1.5 are in there. And I've got Spellcasters 2 and 3 all the way. And I'm closing in on getting Volume 2 completed and finalized very, very soon. Definitely in the next couple of weeks. So please support my work. Make a contribution to our monthly contribution banner to cover our operating costs. Also have a fundraiser to try and get a new computer as well. So if you want to contribute to that, please do so. I love you guys. I'm going to try to work all day on the video tomorrow. Excuse me. So if I don't end up doing the show for you tomorrow, then be looking out. I've been doing Saturday shows lately. I've been doing that sometimes. It's been kind of fun. I've been sometimes not doing them, some during the weekend. So I'll probably, we'll see what happens. I'll probably end up doing a Saturday show for you too. All right. You guys take care. Please support our work and make a contribution with whatever you can and get a subscription, make a donation, get movies, all that. All right. Later.